Life is too short, games are too long, so let me quickly tell you what's right and what's wrong with Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. MGS Delta is a remake of MGS3 Snake Eater, a game which as of this year becomes old enough to legally drink in the US. Seeing how many games get remakes within a decade of their original release, sometimes earlier, this isn't all that surprising. That said, unlike say the recent Resident Evil remakes from Capcom, which are also reimaginings of those initial titles, Delta plays it as safe as possible by being a very one-to-one retelling of the 2004 original, the major difference being the graphics and the small gameplay adjustments when playing in the new style. Mainly, this involves controls closer to that of MGS5 that follow the industry standard of left trigger zoom, right trigger shoot. They also now let Snake ruin his posture as they've added the ability to crouch walk. Bullet drop is also a thing that now exists. For new players, they won't expect anything different. For those of us who have been playing for 2 decades, there's going to be some growing pains as you have to fight with muscle memory and lament the fact that your tranq pistol isn't a precision laser anymore. You want to get technical, the crouch walking and third person aiming aren't new to this version of Snake Eater. As for the 10 or so of you out there who also played the port in the 3DS, you'll know that it had these improvements, the problems being the 3DS brought along its own set of annoyances with the control setup.
Come on, you motherfucker! Ah, shit! God damn it!
So, finally being able to enjoy a new way of playing a classic that doesn't turn one's hands into pretzels is certainly a positive. For what it's worth, I think anybody can adapt to old controls if they try, but we can't ignore the fact that these changes will help ease in new players. Of the new additions, the most notable is that of the improved graphics, with most everything else being a carbon copy. It is the biggest standout of this release. Overall, I think they look nice. The environments are pretty, and most of the characters look like how you would have thought they looked in 2004 when those visuals were cutting edge. Volgin easily, in my opinion, has had the best glow up, seeing as his scars are now actually part of his model, giving them some depth, as opposed to a texture that 9-year-old me thought was a questionable tattoo job back in the day. You do lose something without the lighting and the filters of the OG though, specifically that 2000s era piss filter that we all seem to have a love-hate relationship with from that time. Plus in certain gameplay sections, the darks are not as, well, dark. Best examples being the cave and especially the fight with the Fury. Before, the only light source was from your own night vision goggles, Torch, or his repeated attempts at arson. Now you can see him clear as day, coupled with a faster, snappier shooting, and what was arguably the most difficult boss becomes one of the easiest. At the very least, the filter issues can be somewhat addressed with the addition of multiple filters you can toggle on or off, one of which aims to replicate that old style. I recommend turning it on and never ever taking it off. This is what I did. I briefly touched on the Fury there, but as for the other bosses, again, the new controls make them much easier to deal with overall as well. It seems that while the player has more freedom in how they fight, they are all very much unchanged, for better or worse. Pour one out for the old death pill stun grenade strat that seemingly no longer works on the Fear though. On one hand, I can't be mad at them literally fixing a glitch, but on the other, I'm gonna miss turning that SpongeBob sounding predator into Swiss cheese. Performance has been a point of contention since release, so let's open that can of worms. I cannot speak for the PS5 and PC ports as I've yet to play them, but what I experienced on the Series X was not terrible. Not perfect, but not unplayable. There was a day one patch that seemingly may have fixed some of the really egregious frame rate drops, but as it stands, I did still experience a few, the big one being the boss battle with the end. I think it may have dropped to around 30 FPS at some points. I was on performance mode the whole time, and while you could try and make the argument that those areas have a lot of foliage and whatnot, they are still relatively small areas, broken up by loading screens no less, so there's literally no reason for them to dip so low. Perhaps they can drop as well if you're in a heated firefight, but that didn't happen in my run, so can't comment. If anything, that's another reason to remain undetected. Hopefully another patch is on the way to fix it, but we shall have to wait and see. The final 3 new additions that help Delta stand on its own include the Geckos, another collectible similar to the Kerotans. There is 64 of them as well, so good luck remembering all of their locations. Snake vs Bomberman, a fun little side mode with a cute unlockable that exists solely because I assume Sony wouldn't let their Dead Monkey franchise be on a different console. And finally, the newly revamped Guy Savage minigame, which this time around was developed by Platinum Games. I'd buy and play a full version of this. In the end, Delta's biggest strength and weakness is that it is the original Snake Eater in just about every way. This is good as that game is a classic, one of my personal favourites and beloved by many, and means a lot to so many people, to the point where any major changes would probably be seen as unnecessary. On the flip side, if you played the PS2 game and didn't like it, Delta is not going to change your opinion. Plus, if you still play Snake Eater to this day and have zero problems with doing so, a shinier coat of paint and new controls probably won't sell you on it. Not to mention, the game is currently sitting between £60 to £70, which could be hard to warrant when you can pick up the Master Collection for less than half that price. It also comes with 3 games. In the end, only you know you. I've enjoyed my time with it, as it's just another way to experience a game that I love that has released on damn near everything by this stage. If you're waiting for a score or skipped ahead, sorry, I do not like giving scores. You heard my pros and cons, use them to affect your personal decision, not a random number. Okay, bye.